Good evening, everybody. Happy Monday. I hope you had a great start of the week. I hope you're safe, sane, and are certainly interested in actual news. And that's what I have here for you. A long, crazy day, but I'm very happy to talk about President Biden, First Lady Jill Biden, what they did, what she did at the White House. I have some pictures to show you how the White House historic tour has changed and how she has implemented also very current technological aspects to the tour. We're going to talk about the award recipients 2022-2023 that President Biden inaugurated and awarded with today. We're going to talk about Middle East. We're going to talk about Ukraine. We're going to talk about Harris Wall's campaign. We're going to talk about Trump. Everything. Yes, including McDonald's. No genitalia. So this is not the show. So wherever you want to go, get that information. You're not going to get it here. Okay. So thank you so much for joining me. Let's jump right into the news. And the news that is viral, that is very much politicized. And let's discuss, what does it mean? Right. So let's not wait until we talk about the Middle East. Let's talk about President Biden expressing concern over the leak of U.S. intelligence on Israeli plans to attack Iran. So, President Joe Biden expressed deep concern over the leak of classified documents detailing U.S. assessments of Israeli plans to attack Iran. According to National Security Council spokesman John Kirby, the documents reportedly include Israeli military movements in response to Iran's missile attack on October 1st. While the cause of the leak remains undetermined, it has drawn significant attention from lawmakers, including House Speaker Mike Johnson, who called it very concerning. Now, if you're not first time here, you kind of know. Mike Johnson, he serves one leader and one leader only. That's Donald Trump. And so planting some sort of seed of doubt, into current administration's ability to show strength is certainly one of the plans, if not the plan. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. The leaked documents attributed to US intelligence agencies were shared on an Iranian aligned Telegram account. And think about Telegram owner and founder has been detained in Paris for completely running Telegram as part of the Russian intelligence services. So, okay, let's put two and two together. They also reference Israel's nuclear capabilities, which neither country officially acknowledges, and indicate that such options may not be on the table for upcoming strikes. Biden is actively monitoring the investigation into how the documents were released and is focused on preventing future leaks. In response to a reporter's question today about whether he has a good understanding of Israel's planned actions regarding Iran, Biden stated yes and yes. When he was asked about details, he said, no and no, I'm not going to reveal any details to you, sir, reporter. Two things here. Let's just, call a thing a thing. Telegram leaks something. That's a pro-Russian. It's a very much pro-Russian and Russian-controlled state of media or social media platform that is used mostly by Russian forces to communicate about the war in Ukraine. Them leaking something about Israel's steps on Iran. Then think about Israel conducted a strike not so long ago on a Russian military base inside Syria. And that military base contained missiles sent from Iran, which were meant for both Russia to strike Ukraine and also for Hezbollah to use against Israel. Hence, Israel destroyed it to prevent this attack. So, in my humble opinion, this is a Russian response to Israel striking that military base. Again, this is my humble opinion. I stated the facts to you. Now I think why. I don't think it's U.S. Secret Service or sources or Pentagon or whatever. certainly they have people on the inside. Every country has people that serves that country who live in another country. US does it, Russia does it, China does it, you know. I worked at UN. The people who clean toilets, they're not toilet cleaners at the UN. Okay. And I can tell you more if you join our town hall at some point and ask me that question. But this is the response of Karine Jean-Pierre when she was asked this question about the leak in today's briefing at the White House. Listen.
Information about Israel's plans toward Iran. There was a leak of classified information last year in April. A member of the National Guard had posted a bunch of documents and whatnot online. Has the Pentagon and the intelligence community done enough since then to protect?
What I can say is certainly we are aware of the reporting. Certainly we are concerned, very concerned by them. Anything about the process and this and how it's being investigated by the U.S. government, I would have to refer you to the IC, the DOJ, and certainly DOD. I'm not going to get into particulars or specifics from here, but.
And it's an interesting question, but what kind of answer are we awaiting from the White House and Karine, who represents the White House, to say, oh, it wasn't Pentagon, or it was Pentagon and it was somebody inside Pentagon? You're not going to get this answer. But again, I shared my take. Please share your take with me. And this will be also featured in tonight's newsletter. Hi, Brandon. Hey, thank you for joining me. Hey, guys. Thank you. So the newsletter here, onest.substack.com, it's free if you decide to support. I'm very grateful for you, but please sign up. You're going to get actual news. Tonight's email, I had it ready by 2 p.m. I had it ready by 4 p.m. I just added 2 more articles to it. It's long. It's very informative. So if you use 2 days to read it, I didn't even add much videos to it, but it's detailed. It's interesting. It has photos. It has some videos. I really, really ask you to read it. Give it a chance. And if you like it, subscribe. Also there in this email, you will have an option to RSVP to our next watch party, which is very beloved here. So if you are, let's say, in favor of Harris Walls and you're looking for a community of like-minded people with whom you can chat, camera off or on, mic on or off, but you can chat, you can watch something, you can discuss afterwards. So 9 p.m. this Thursday, October 23rd, Kamala Harris will be interviewed by Anderson Cooper on CNN in a town hall setting, and I'm inviting you to join. Also, if you're watching now on X or Twitter shitter, as I call it, there's a link to RSVP right away on YouTube. I'm just gonna add it right now as soon as we watch our next video. Okay, so please join me, and please share and like this video, whatever we need to do to spread more actual news and information. Also, another story was that this morning a bipartisan House panel has released a report condemning security failures surrounding the July assassination attempt on former President Trump. I shared my take on it. Let's not dive in it. Let's just go with straight facts on this report. The report found the attack preventable, citing major communication breakdowns between Secret Service and local law enforcement. 1 person was killed and 2 others were injured. The panel blames the Secret Service for not securing the venue, allowing the gunmen to evade detection and open fire. The task force plans to release final recommendations by December to prevent future attacks. Now they're also investigating the second assassination attempt in Florida. Remember, where the guy was allegedly carrying tiles and standing there for hours filming himself, and then the Secret Service fired at him. He ran away, never came back, and then was detained, and he somehow is in and out of jail for a period of time, extensive period of time. Let's watch White House's response to the question about this report.
Task force, the House task force investigating the Butler, Pennsylvania attempted assassination came out with an interim report today. Yeah. Pretty critical of the Secret Service, especially as it relates to the coordination and communication with local police. One, does the White House, the president, have a reaction to that? And two, does the president still have full confidence in the current leadership at Secret Service?
So look, the president has deep respect for the Secret Service, and he knows that they have an extremely difficult job. He knows that the men and women who are part of the Secret Service put their lives on the line day in and day out. And so we're going to review the report. I'm not going to comment on the report right now. We're going to review it. As you just said, it just came out this morning. So, and I would add Secret Service has also acknowledged their own shortcomings. And they have taken several steps to enhance the former president's protection. And so they'll continue to do that work. And the president has also been clear from his point of view as well to the Secret Service to make sure that they provide the highest level of protection for the former president. And so that.
And so, Brandon, thank you for pointing out that Wednesday is indeed 23rd. Now, this is what happens when you go to CNN and copy paste out of their article. Because I thought, why would I fact check CNN about a town hall at CNN? They said Thursday 23rd. And I was like, copy paste because I had to run. Now, can anybody, while you watch, check if it's going to be on Thursday or is it going to be on the 23rd? Because that kind of matters. I don't mind. Either way is good. Also, this is the link to RSVP for anybody who's watching on YouTube. I just posted the comment. So please click RSVP. Join us. We'll update it, whether it is the Thursday or the 23rd. It's on Wednesday. Brandon said it's on Wednesday. Okay, good. So CNN messed up the day itself. So Wednesday, 23rd, we're meeting. I'm going to change it right away as we're done here. Thank you so much, Brandon. Thank you for adding your voice to this conversation and gladly stay corrected. Now, with actual news and facts that I did check. Now, let's talk about FEMA because so much misinformation happened today and came out of Trump's mouth. In North Carolina, FEMA Administrator Chris Wall discussed the Biden-Harris administration's ongoing support for recovery and rebuilding efforts following Hurricane Helene during her appearance on Morning Joe. She emphasized that over $130 million has been allocated directly to individuals across the state, stating that the rebuilding process is well underway and that real progress is beginning to emerge in affected communities. She also condemned the spread of hurricane-related misinformation, noting that it hinders recovery efforts. And her interview coincided with the administration's announcement on new initiatives to bolster recovery in North Carolina. Now, what was that announcement? Here it is. The Biden-Harris administration is taking significant action to support North Carolina's recovery for Hurricane Helene, approving over $300 million in assistance for survivors and state recovery efforts. A new program will hire community liaisons to connect impacted communities with FEMA, ensuring their needs are met. Over 1,500 federal personnel are deployed with 14 disaster recovery centers already serving thousands. FEMA is also providing temporary hotel stays and conducting home inspections to aid survivors. President Biden and Vice President Harris remain committed to helping North Carolina recover, working closely with Governor Cooper and local leaders to provide vital resources. This comprehensive effort underscores the administration's dedication to supporting recovery efforts in the wake of this disaster. Now, when we talk about Trump, I'm going to show you some clips because we have to talk about McDonald's before we get to this North Carolina briefing. Because you got to be informed, so you kind of like watch this and are more shocked than if you would have watched it without a warning, okay? A comment here, Keith. I just don't understand why the news keeps putting a camera on Trump, knowing his pattern. They're playing both sides, and it's pretty scary for media not to cover him because if he wins, he will shut you down. That's their way of thinking. I will not reveal too much, but if I say so, I kind of know so. And then everybody decides for themselves. I decide for myself. Everybody else decides for themselves. Companies decide for themselves because they need to pay the bills. I can't condemn that, but I can also see where they're coming from. No, I don't like it. Do they benefit Trump being even relevant and possibly winning? Yes. Do they they, meaning mass media that covers Trump and puts camera, Keith, to your point, in his face, do they benefit fascism, right? Do they expedite the Trump, campaign? Do they help Trump's campaign? Do they keep it, again, relevant? Yes, they play a huge role on that. Are they mean towards Harris and very forgiving towards Trump, who is dementia, driven fella who's very much disgusting without dementia and very much concerning with dementia? Yes. And then everybody decides for themselves. All right. Now, today, 2022, 2023 National Medals of Arts and Humanities ceremony happened. October 21st. I have to upload 3 pictures. Ask me some questions until then, because I just got them and it's visual. So I want to show you the names instead of like reading all the names. It was such a big ceremony. I also have a quote from President Biden to show you that it's so wonderful. That's what he shared at this ceremony. Now, pictures are updated. On October 21st, President Biden hosted a ceremony at the White House to award 2022-2023 National Medals of Arts and Humanities, with First Lady Jill Biden in attendance. National Medal of Arts recognizes individuals and organizations that have made significant contributions to the arts, while the National Humanities Medal honors the deepening understanding and engagement in humanities. So these are the folks that got it. So National Medal of Arts recipients, you see Ruth Asava, Clyde Butcher. You can read it. That was funny. Missy Elliott is Melissa Missy Elliott. You see Evelyn Goria, Idina Menzel. Let it go. Yep. By the way, all the names, all the details are in your newsletter tonight, so you can read it. Now, 2023 recipients, you see here Alex Katz, Spike Lee, Queen Latifah, Steven Spielberg, Bruce Cohen, Ken Burns. Now, National Humanities Medal recipients, 2022, Robin Harris, Robert Martin, Pauline Yu. So you see folks here, 2023, Anthony Bourdain posthumously, Mellon Foundation, Don Porter, Aaron Sorkin, Darren Walker, Rosita Ball. So you see them here. All the actual names are there. And what I really liked is how President Biden finished his speech. Here's a quote from President Biden. He says, "I know the power of women in this room to get things done. And I also help the next generation of pioneers, proving a woman can do anything and man can do, and then some. That includes being a president of the United States of America." Lovely. Okay. Now let's talk about Harris, Vice President Harris, and also Harris Wall's campaign. Let's check some comments here before we go. He pissed me off. Who pissed you off, Rosie Marie? Who dared? With his making a terrible catastrophe political. Yeah, that's Trump about the hurricanes. FEMA had to go behind him and say all he did was lie. My grandson, he dead. Stepmom almost died. I'm so sorry. And my thing is that we as a society, I mean, he's deranged. He did same, if not worse, with COVID, right? And we did not anything to control him, right? We did not learn that this guy first has to be off media. He is dangerous in front of a camera. He's dangerous in a position of power. We kept him relevant. And I'm saying we, right, broadly, not you and I. And also, what is DOJ doing? There's so many questions with this, because somehow this guy is grabbing us by a certain part for decades at this point. 2016, he won before he ran for 4 years. Just remember the story with Obama's birth certificate. Since then, that's like 2012, now going to, it's incredible. Why isn't he away from the window? I agree. Thank you, Rosie Marie. Yeah. Strong words for McDonald's stunt Trump did over the weekend, but decided to not post about it. Well, we're going to talk about it soon. So let's talk about the good part. Vice President Harris celebrated her 60th birthday yesterday. So she attended a service, first and foremost, at New Birth Church in Stonecrest, Georgia, where she delivered remarks to a packed congregation. The church, led by Pastor Jamal Bryant, was filled with community members dressed in various shades of pink in recognition of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Now, take a look how she answered.
We bless you. We bless you. We bless you. We bless you. Come on. Seek it. Seek it. We bless your name. We bless your name. Yes. Glory and honor. We bring up to. We bring all praise. Glory and honor. Come on, everybody sing all praise. Glory and honor. We give your name praise, all praise. Glory and honor. All praise. Glory and honor. All praise. Glory and honor. All praise. Yeah. Glory and honor. We give it to you. Glory and honor. All praise. Yeah. Glory and honor. All praise. Glory and honor. All praises belongs to you, Jesus. All praise, yeah. Glory and honor. We give you praise.
And by the way, I just checked the RSVP, so it's scheduled for the 23rd. So all I have to change is the Thursday part on the cover. So good thing you subscribed, your RSVP to 23rd. You're going to get your reminders. Everything works as it's supposed to be, which is great. Now, she entered the church. She hugged everybody. Now, imagine Donald Trump doing that. I mean, besides the point, Harris entered the sanctuary, greeted warmly by attendees, including women wearing sparkling pink hats. Then, before Harris took the stage, Pastor Bryant emphasized the role of the Black community in shaping the future of the nation, stating, "Black people are getting ready to elect the next President of the United States." He introduced the vice president to a gathering that included over 56 elected officials and notable figures such as Atlanta Mayor Andrew Dickens and Opal Lee, the mother of Juneteenth. Then, in her opening remarks, Harris acknowledged the recent tragedy of a dock collapse on Sapelo Island in Georgia, addressing condolences for the lives lost and gratitude for first responders. She emphasized the importance of community, stating, "In times like this, we are reminded of the ties that bind us together." Now, at some point, everybody broke into song or chant "Happy Birthday." So certainly a different version. Take a look.
And I first of all, Pastor Brian, I want to thank you. You and I were reminiscing. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Oh, I'm so touched. Well, it is my great joy to celebrate my birthday with all of you here, and thank you.
So certainly I know Stevie Wonder version, but this is a mix. I love it. That's a very cool one. So Harris noted that it was Pink Sunday and shared a personal connection to the cause, recalling her mother's work as a breast cancer researcher. She offered support to those affected by the illness, affirming, "I'm holding you close in my heart and in my prayers." Turning to scripture, Harris focused on Gospel of Luke, specifically the parable of Good Samaritan. She encouraged attendees to reflect on the message She shared a personal story from days after and will I'm back. Thank you so much. Olga, no video. Yes. Internet things. Sorry guys. We have to fix it. Somehow it's not getting better, but we'll fix it or replace it. Thank you for being here and for being patient. So, talking about Harris at the church on her birthday. Last paragraph. As she concluded her remarks, Harris received thunderous applause when she quoted, "Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning." Shortly after her address, a protester now attempted to disrupt the service, but was quickly silenced by the congregation. Um, then, I mean, let's not disregard Kamala Harris's staff. So they did their best. She traveled, she delivered remarks at two churches, huge churches. We're not talking about small gathering, but thousands of people, which was thoroughly described by the poll. And again, all the details are in the email. But her staff also celebrated her birthday on Air Force Two because they were flying from one thing to another. She also recorded and it premiered an interview on MSNBC. So while on Air Force Two, they decorated everything in gold and white balloons. The theme was for the people. It featured German chocolate cake, and she thanked everybody for being the gifts that they are in her life. Very sweet. And also, what Kamala Harris premiered today, she released a statement. Also, President Biden released a statement that they are advocating for expanded access to contraception, which is a huge deal. If you are a woman or you know a woman, which I think hope you do, and perhaps you were young, you know how difficult it is to get a hold of contraception. It's a whole big deal. And it also depends where you live and what kind of funds you have, right? So Vice President Kamala Harris emphasized the importance of reproductive freedom and access to healthcare in a recent statement. She announced that the Biden administration is proposing the largest expansion of contraception coverage in over a decade. This new rule aims to provide millions of women with more affordable contraception options, including the unprecedented inclusion of no cost, over the counter contraception without a prescription. Harris highlighted that this initiative builds on previous efforts to enhance reproductive freedom, noting the billions saved by women under the Affordable Care Act. Now, let's be realistic. If Biden Harris administration is proposing this now with this state of affairs in the Congress, certainly it's difficult to get past. If Kamala Harris wins, if we do the work, voting blue up and down the ballot, this could be an opportunity. This could be our reality. And certainly, I think it's such a good idea. President Biden also issued a statement in support. He condemned Republican efforts to restrict birth control access and defund federal programs supporting contraception, particularly following the overturning of Roe v. Wade. In response, his administration announced a significant expansion of contraception coverage under the Affordable Care Act. And both statements are in your email, so you can read it. Now, let's come to today. Let's check some comments. Either you are guys talking to each other. Protester at church. Yes, Keith, there was protester in church in Georgia. Those colors are extremely close to graduation. That's what I thought too. That's what I thought too. Yes, because that were my colors at the graduation in North Carolina. Like, you know, the tassel thing was gold and white too. Yeah. How does a protester even get into a church with Secret Service? It's a huge church. Imagine, I don't want to quote him, but like Joel Osteen thing. When I moved to US, and you know, I grew up in Germany, lived in the Netherlands, I moved to US, and I watched Joel Osteen on television. First, I think like, why is this guy so styled? And is that a church? What is it? But I leave it up to you. You love him, fine. I know some facts that I make it difficult, but okay. And then, you know, like they show the people in this arena. I'm like, is that a church? Oh my God. So that's the size of the church she was at. Imagine an arena with tens of thousands of people. So entering an arena, right, for a protester is less difficult than a small congregation or small event, right? For sure. Everyone is welcome at church, Renee. Yeah. Austin is a grifter. Don't forget, like when Texas was flooded and then he closed the church and would not let people in. You know. Okay, campaign trail. Today, Kamala Harris's timetable or schedule was so exhausting. I showed it even to my mother. Said, "Can you go through it?" It's like it's this long. I mean, we get the details. So she goes there, she drives here, she arrives here. She's, you know, all that. But oh my God, 3 speeches, 3 sit-down conversations with Liz Cheney in 3 states in 1 day. All right, so she started at the People's Light in Malvern, Pennsylvania. The town hall conversation was wide-ranging, and the 2 women discussed abortion, the dangers of Donald Trump. Harris field office questions. She fields questions on the cost of child senior care, maternal mortality. Now, the details, the entire readout of that conversation is in your email. So, second was at the Royal Oak Theater in Birmingham, Michigan. And here's a video from that, which was, you know, I always try to show you videos that are not repetitive, right? Because campaign trails, certainly they're repeating themselves, which is the point. You are traveling to bring your message to new crowds, right? Because we can't guesstimate that everybody has YouTube turned on 24/7. Right? Especially in battleground states. This video is pretty interesting. That's when she sat down. I have to present it because I just restarted, right? She sat down with Liz Cheney, and the question was, isn't it weird seeing Liz Cheney campaigning for Harris? Take a look. It's 2 minutes, 39 seconds. Both of them are speaking. It really gives us this insight into the atmosphere, which is very important. Take a look.
I'm not surprised that Liz Cheney and I are on the same stage 15 days before the election.
Okay.
You know?
Well, maybe you're not surprised, but I'm surprised. And I think a lot of people are surprised. So I want to know, are you surprised? Are you surprised that you're out here campaigning for a Democrat, campaigning for Kamala Harris against the party that you've been a part of your entire life?
You know, what I would say, first of all, is we all know, everyone who watched January 6th knows, you know, what Donald Trump is willing to do. He lost the election. He tried to overturn it and seize power. And then he sat in his dining room and he watched the attack on television. He watched it. People pleaded with him to tell the mob to leave, and he wouldn't. And he watched law enforcement officers be brutally beaten. He watched it. That's a depravity that, to me, and I think to anyone who's taken the oath of office, makes someone absolutely unfit ever to be president again. Now, I could have just said, I'm going to do everything I can to work against Donald Trump. And there are a lot of Republicans who have said that. I have decided, and I am very proud and I'm honored to have made the decision to endorse Vice President Harris. And I have gotten to spend time with Vice President Harris. I have had the chance to talk with her about how important it is that we have two strong parties in our country, about the kind of president that I know she'll be. And I think all of us, it doesn't matter what party you're in, we all know this is a good and an honorable and a great nation. And we have to have leaders. You might say, I'm not going to agree on every issue, but we have to have leaders who take that seriously. We have to have leaders who are going to be sincere. And as a mother, I want my children to know that there is someone sitting in the Oval Office that they can look up to, someone who can be a role model. And I'm incredibly proud, and I know that Vice President Harris will be that.
And certainly you're quoting, or you're talking about this event in Michigan and the Q&A. Certainly we'll cover it, not everything at once, but good event. What I really like is that Kamala Harris gets more and more comfortable with every single interaction with people directly. The rallies, first and foremost, were very much studied, very repetitive. We had some phrases that were catchphrases. The story about a woman raising her who was an entrepreneur and small business owner, that sort of started getting a little old, right? At least for those who constantly watch the rallies, not for those who maybe watch it a few times. But I can only speak for myself. But the town hall setting, she shows how human she is, how knowledgeable she is, how intelligent she is, and also how empathetic she is. And I think it's a great format for her. And I hope that CNN does her talents and her level of justice when the Anderson Cooper hosts the town hall, that he's not overplaying it for the gotcha questions, but really allows her to speak to the audience, right? The way they allow Trump to dance for or whatever, sway from side to side for 38 minutes. Okay, that's all I wish for. Now, the third event was in Brookfield, Wisconsin, and Liz Cheney said, political courage is vanishingly rare in our world today. And she said he knew few people more courageous. This is Kamala Harris talking about Liz Cheney, because I just got this in. The event is ongoing. At least it was ongoing when I jumped on here. So political courage is vanishingly rare in our world today, says Kamala Harris, that she knew few people more courageous than Liz Cheney. Cheney got a rousing standing ovation when introduced. And so at that point, my coverage stopped and I came here to talk with you. Now, let's talk about Trump, talking about lack of courage. What did he do on Sunday? Kamala Harris went to church, delivered remarks, celebrated her birthday, recorded an interview with MSNBC. What did Trump do? He had a photo op. Remember the photo op with the Bible? Now, this time it was a photo op with fries. Yeah, and his campaign, right? First, look at the pictures. Old McDonald had a fry. Yeah. So, he pretended to have done something with the fries or to the fries. His campaign pivoted it as if he worked a full shift, right? President Trump works a shift at McDonald's. Kamala could never, right? They posted all types of videos. Now, laughing is allowed, is certainly very welcome here. Take a look.
Everybody.
Hey,
I'm having a lot of fun here, everybody.
oh my God, oh my God.
Hello, everybody.
You can take this, right?
Okay, now the truth. And then we watch the second video once you kind of, if you don't know, now you know, type of truth. Now, this specific McDonald's posted that they plan to be closed on Sunday, October 20th until 4 p.m. to accommodate a visit at the request of former President Trump and his campaign. And they said that while we're not a political organization, we welcome everybody to highlight our small business. That's the same small business that never wanted to raise the minimal wages for the employees, would never recognize them. It's very problematic McDonald's in Pennsylvania. Now, having that in mind, that it was all staged, all those guests, first of all, and I'll show you a video, make sure to pinpoint that they never ordered. They got like all the time same orders, just given from Trump, while other people were preparing those after that photo shoot with the fry happened. And they were all screened by security service. They were all prepared. It was all staged. None of them were just random visitors at McDonald's. So with this in mind, take a look at this video, and just for you to think how pathetic this whole campaign is. God forbid.
I could do this all day. I wouldn't mind this job. I like this job. I think I might come back and do it again. Thank you. Look at that. Mr. Look at that. How are you? Thank you, Mr. President. Nice to see you. You made it possible for ordinary people like us to meet you. You're not ordinary. I mean, thank you so much for everything you're doing. I can see. We pray for you, and you are the type of person we want to be the president. Thank you. Thank you so much. So nice. Thank you.
You know why it was done? Because many of you have asked, what's the point? What's the point? First of all, he's very much fixated that Kamala Harris, for some reason, is not mentioning her McDonald's job as a teen on her resume. Now, I had several jobs as a teen for cash or, whatever, just to make some money. People on loans, they help people to, clean up or get the garbage out, whatever. Do you put all that on your resume, especially since you've been a prosecutor and an accomplished vice president of the United States? No, really. So really weird. And that's what I wrote. Former President Trump claimed to have worked a full shift at McDonald's in Pennsylvania. Strangely, the restaurant posted a notice on its doors stating that it would be closed at 4 p.m. until 4 p.m. Trump and pro-Trump media have increasingly demanded that Kamala Harris prove she worked at McDonald's during her teens, despite the common understanding that side jobs taken for extra cash often do not appear on formal resumes, especially for teenage workers. What do I mean by pro-Trump media? I mean Fox. Take a look.
How frustrating is it for you as a Democrat, or maybe Democrats you're talking to know that you only have 15 days to do what she couldn't do in 3.5 years?
Well, in the military,
in terms of introducing herself to the public,
sure,
I'm not talking policy.
In the military, we say 14 days to wake up, or 15 days, right?
That's the military. You guys are trained.
Yes, 14 days to wake up, exactly, right? Listen, it's like, listen, I know former President Trump was in Bucks County yesterday at the McDonald's. She actually worked at McDonald's, and he, is
Can
trying
I just
to
say something about that?
Sure.
Because I'm not able to comment on whether or not that's true, and I won't even jump into that vat of goo. But why isn't her campaign cleaning that up? Why isn't her campaign saying, look, this is a non-issue, here's a receipt or two, blah, 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 blah. She had to have paid taxes. She worked at McDonald's. I mean, I don't know. I just wonder why they're not cleaning it up.
Yeah,
but again, I don't have a dog in that race, and I can't say what's true.
I worked at the Pizza Hut, and I don't have receipts on that either.
I worked at the 7-Eleven, and I do.
Yeah, but I think more importantly, if Donald Trump cared so much about it when he was president, he could have raised the minimum wage. He could have been fighting for the middle class. But he passed a tax break that 83% of which went to the wealthiest 1% of America. So it's who's going to fight for everyday Americans. And I think Kamala Harris will do that.
And in all fairness, my parents did.
Yeah.
My parents had those receipts.
Yeah.
Tammy.
I would just remind everyone that when Hillary realized or felt she was losing and was going to lose in 2000.
By the way, Trump undressing himself, just putting the jacket off, that works like an anti-McDonald's commercial, because we do know that he eats McDonald's every day. So if you look like that, that's like an anti-commercial. Yeah, Trump has never had to write a resume, so he doesn't get it. Keith, to your point, exactly. Eliza says, yeah, I worked one summer job at McDonald's during college and I have no pay stubs from that, nor did I ever put that on Singular. Exactly. Like, why would you put that on your resume? Unless, on resumes, you put stuff that applies to your current profession and the job you're applying for. Like, what are we talking about? Jesus freaking Christ. Now, Kamala Harris was asked about it when landing at her first campaign event today and exiting Air Force Two. Take a look. It's like we're grown-ups. We have a presidential campaign here 2 weeks away. Like, what a BS are we now focused on? We have wars all over Middle East, Europe, Indo-Pacific. She's running for president. She's taking over Biden-Harris administration that has good results, economy, jobs related. She has a lot to prove off to real people, diplomats, and those who are in charge and are awaiting her to make a call on many, many issues. Now we're talking about McDonald's and teens. Donald, step away. Step away, please, maybe. Or make him step away. What's more disgusting, that he traveled to North Carolina to talk about Hurricane Helene relief. There was a gentleman who talked about his McDonald's accomplishment with the fry. Yeah. Take a look.
Offered because I also own McDonald's restaurants. I know that you perfected your skills behind the counter a day or so ago, and it was my honor to present President Trump with the French fry certification pin. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much.
God bless you.
That's really
All
nice.
right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Representative Edwards. I'm going to share something about him after we watch this clip. That's where a reporter asked Trump, saying an armed man was arrested for threatening FEMA workers. Is it helping the recovery effort when you make these claims? Here's Trump's answer.
President Trump, an armed gunman was arrested charged with making threats against FEMA workers 2 Saturdays ago. FEMA had a safety stand down because of continued credible threats. Is it helping the recovery effort in North Carolina to keep making these claims that FEMA's not doing their job?
Well, I think you have to let people know how they're doing. If they were doing a great job, I think we should say that too, because I think they should be rewarded. But if they're not doing, does that mean that if they're doing a poor job, we're supposed to not say it? These people are entitled to say it. And these are honest people behind this. If FEMA were doing well, they would be saying they did a good job. They're not, for the most part, political people. For the most part, they're not political people. But you've obviously seen nothing but very bad statements coming out about the job that FEMA and this administration has done, having to do with this area, North Carolina as a whole. And by the way, other states also, they're also complaining. But look, a lot of the money is gone. They don't have any money. They have to have a meeting in Washington, a special meeting in Washington to get money. It's all gone. They've spent it on illegal migrants. Many of them are murderers. Many of them are drug dealers. Many of them.
Okay, enough with this BS. So the guy standing right next to him is Representative Edwards, who recently went pretty viral and made the news by putting out statements debunking hurricane misinformation. You see it here, edwards.house.gov. FEMA has not diverted disaster response funding to the border of foreign aid. Disaster response efforts and individual assistance are funded through the Disaster Relief Fund, which is a dedicated fund for disaster efforts. FEMA's non-disaster related presence at the border has always been of major concern to me, even before Hurricane Helene, and I will continue to condemn their deployment. FEMA is not going to run out of money. Certainly. But McDonald's fry pan. What a shit show. Now, in response to Trump's remarks, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper urged him to avoid spreading lies or misinformation, emphasizing that storm survivors need accurate information and support. Cooper stressed the importance of bipartisanship and recovery efforts, stating the storm recovery cannot be partisan, and called for collaboration to effectively assist those affected by the disaster. Now, Cooper, go on TV and say it. Go on pro-Trump media, including CNN, and say it. So your statement is right next to the other guy's statement. Putting it on Twitter, shitter, putting it on your social media or your website, it's wonderful. But it doesn't do justice, because guess what? I'm sorry to say that, but people who are misinformed, that you claim, rightfully so, are not going to your Twitter, shitter, to find information, and they're not going certainly to your website. So put it right next to Trump's things. See what he uses as media, and that applies to everybody. Sees what he uses as sources of disinformation and put your statement right next to it. Isn't that the common sense, right? If you want to outcompete somebody's product, you want to outcompete them on what? On price, on quality, on both, perhaps, right? Or additional features. That's the business or marketing 101. And you put your product where? Right next to the competitor. You don't put it somewhere in different aisle. You want to outcompete them. So that applies to this information too. Now, on State Department and Angola, remember President Biden supposed to fly to Angola, which he will. U.S. Ambassador to Angola and Angolan Secretary of State signed an open skies air transport agreement in Luanda, enhancing bilateral aviation cooperation. This agreement modernizes the civil aviation relationship between U.S. and Angola, promoting economic ties and creating opportunities for travelers and airlines. Big readout, and it's in your email, which is certainly President Biden's trip is highlighting the economic efforts or the opportunities when it comes to investment and business to work with Angola. And they will be opening national resources for international investment. So that's what that trip was related to and is related to. And certainly this Open Skies project and agreement is a start. So people can travel, right, and have those meetings. Now, on Ukraine, a few things. Undersecretary of State Uzra Zeya visited Kiev, Ukraine on October 18th, reaffirming the U.S.'s unwavering support for Ukraine in its fight against Russia's aggression. She met with various Ukrainian officials. She announced 3 new U.S. initiatives for Ukraine. First is $5 million grant for civil society and investigative journalists to boost transparency and anti-corruption efforts. I like the idea. I don't understand the $5 million. I mean, maybe it's 2 journalists. A $2 million award to support reparations for victims of Russian atrocities. Again, I like it. Do you understand how many victims there are? I don't understand the 2 million part. Maybe it's a start. Okay, a $2 million partnership with UN Women to advance women, peace, and security in Ukraine. Now, that's vague. I don't understand what it means. I couldn't find details on it. So let's be patient. Let's have faith. I like where it's headed. I would love to have details. I promise you to say it as I mean it, and that's exactly what I'm doing. Now, speaking at the 10th anniversary of Ukraine's National Anti-Corruption Bureau, Zeya praised Ukraine's anti-corruption progress. She concluded by expressing admiration for Ukraine's strength and resilience, reaffirming U.S. support in its struggle for justice and security. Also, our U.S. Secretary of Defense, Austin, traveled to Ukraine. Monday comes in, he is in Ukraine, which was a very nice surprise. He arrived, of course, he flew to Poland, arrived by rail in Ukraine. So, and there he brought the good news and certainly brought another aid package. So the U.S. has announced a new $400 million defense aid package for Ukraine, confirmed by Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin during a meeting with President Zelensky. The package includes ammunition, military equipment, and weaponry, emphasizing ongoing U.S. support under the security agreement. Zelensky expressed gratitude for U.S. assistance and bipartisan support since Russia's invasion, highlighting discussions with President Biden. On Ukraine's military capabilities and strategies. Key topics included the authorization of long-range weapons. That's what Zelensky asked for in this meeting, as you see. And coordination with international partners for security assistance. Plans for a new Ramstein meeting were also discussed. Then Lloyd Austin delivered a very powerful speech in Kiev at university. He emphasized Ukraine's fight for freedom against Russian aggression, stating Putin has not achieved one single strategic objective. He highlighted the importance of international solidarity, asserting that the outcome of Ukraine's fight for freedom will help set the trajectory for global security. Austin called for unwavering support for Ukraine, declaring Ukraine does not belong to Putin. Ukraine belongs to Ukrainian people. His remarks serve as a reminder of the moral imperative to defend democracy worldwide. Certainly in our newsletter. And by the way, if you're not subscribed, I will not get tired to promote it. So get it free, decide to support. I'm always grateful for you. Onest.substack.com. Please join. There is an entire readout with some quotes that I think are very important in his speech. Very powerful speech. Certainly not to underestimate. Also, let's review some questions if you have, and I need to. Today is a day where I'm like juggling and dipping and doing at the same time. So I do have pictures of the White House tour, which I'm uploading right now. Please ask any questions meanwhile, and we will review the pictures very soon. As always, we always end up on a good note. And I think that's a fabulous note. Before we get to the Middle East. Okay, pictures are uploaded. Questions. Avoiding putting the camera on him at disaster sites, Fox is one thing, but the others have no excuse, including CNN. Oh, yeah, you quoted me, including CNN, the pro-Trump media. Yeah, Eliza, you caught it. I was reading something earlier that the people of that area were pissed because of Trump's BS, which caused hours and hours of traffic jams due to motorcade. Indeed. And, he just doesn't get it. Even people are pissed in Manhattan, but I mean, God forbid, no disaster, but everybody can't get anywhere. Subway is closed for 30 minutes because he's going to have a lunch, brunch, whatever, right? Now, imagine if you are in recovery. There's a disaster that happened. People are drowning. People need to be saved. People need food. People need aid. God forbid, medical attention. And you're dealing with this BS. That's just unforgivable. Honestly, unforgivable. Now, I question myself and the world every single day. How come that this election is allegedly 50-50? I don't trust the polls. I hope those are not right. I hope that, it's people who want to see it as a horse race are certainly, picturing it as such. But then today we saw an election in Moldova where they voted whether they go into direction EU or they're going to remain with, go direction Russia. And it was 50% pro-EU and 49.9% or something like 0.1% difference with Russia. Like, that's just incredible. You have a country that is literally 50-50. And how do you move on, right? Today, I joined the NSC gaggle with John Kirby. And so I wanted to have specific readouts, and then the newsletter, you have the full description. So some things that I thought were noticeable. So there was a question that, how did Russia's warnings work, right? How did they limit the United States in terms of providing aid or allowing Ukraine to strike deep inside Russia? So 2018-19, U.S. issued warnings to Russia to not interfere in elections. No, that's a different question. That's a different question. Okay, let me just read out what it is, and I'm not going by. Okay, so 2018-19, U.S. issued warnings to Russia to not interfere in elections. Is there any interference or warnings to Russia in the recent times? So we're talking about U.S. election. Are Russians interfering? That's what John Kirby says. We know, and we made public that we know on what we know on Russian interference. There's an awful lot of what we do to counter those operations by Russia. Some things we talk about, some we don't. We made it perfectly clear to Russia how strongly we will push against these actions. Our concerns have been made perfectly clear to President Putin. President has had no direct communication with Putin, because that was a follow-up question. Then, what response to expect on North Korean soldiers in Russia? He says, we continue to look into these reports and listen to what our partners say. If it's true, it would mark a dangerous and highly concerning development. Come on now. We have reports from Ukrainian intelligence community. We have reports from Seoul, from South Korea. Concerned. People are concerned that they're being bombed as we speak in Ukraine for a third year in a row. Concerned. Then North Korea. Now, what is the truth, right? Kirby says he's concerned. They're conducting some type of investigations. Now, what the truth is, North Korea dispatched elite Storm Corps troops to Russia. I have a picture. Ta-ti-ta-ta. North Korea has sent 4 brigades from its elite XC or XI or 11 Army Corps, known as Storm Corps, to Russia, marking the first large-scale troop deployment abroad. Approximately 1,500 soldiers entered Russia on October 8th and are undergoing training at a Russian base. I showed you videos. With more troops expected soon. Now, we saw the video of Ukrainian drone bombing that facility where they went to bed. Allegedly, that were those troops. Now, let's hear it more or less officially. I would love to hear it from US side. Ukrainians say that's what it was. Now, the Storm Corps, which comprises around 40 to 80,000 troops. So if those 1,500 were gone, that's not it. And it also includes units like Lightning and Thunder. It has roots tracing back to Special 8th Corps formed in 1969. Recent inspections by Kim Jong-un before the deployment highlight the strategic importance of this operation, which is unprecedented in North Korea's military history. Now, about those special forces. Those special forces are raised from a very young age, those troops, in complete darkness in terms of information. So they've been fed the information that they, or misinformation or disinformation, that they have to fight NATO, and NATO is the evil. And it's like, they're presented alternative news. They're off social media. They're off of any contact to people rather than within the corps. And so they live in complete darkness, complete disinformation, and certainly just very inhumane treatment, but certainly trained just to fight NATO. That's what's being told about those troops. This military deployment represents a substantial increase in support from Pyongyang to Moscow, which has already received significant supplies of ammunition and missiles. Okay, that's just a little fact check. Now, continuing back to with the NSC gavel. Question: what does Putin BRICS meeting this week mean to U.S.? Kirby says, I don't think you should look at this conference as a coming out party for Putin and Russia. Every country gets to make their sovereign decision on who they work with. We don't see this meeting as a threat. Russia is still isolated on the world stage. Now, what is the message to China that it can do whatever it wants without losing friends? He says, we're not shy about making our concerns heard about China proving components to Russia. We say providing components to Russia. So U.S. expresses concerns about about China helping Russia in its fight against Ukraine. We sanction them. Our message to PRC has been clear and consistent. And still, let's not be fools, right? China approved Kim Jong-un's forces going into Russia to help them fight Ukrainians, civilians. right? Starting with the Kursk region where Ukraine conducted the incursion inside Russia. That's where they're going to be coming in first. Now, allegedly, again reported by Ukrainians, by Seoul, by South Korea, they will be starting on November 1st. It's soon. We'll see. Now, on Moldova's election and Russian interference, I talked to you about the 50-50 election. He says we're in touch with the Moldovans every single day, including this day on their election process. We have expectations that Russians will try to interfere. Russia was not successful. They didn't want Moldovan people to go towards the EU. I understand the low margin. We know they were pushing really hard to affect it. Bottom line, it didn't pass. We continue working with Moldovans. It didn't pass because people showed up. 0.1% difference in an election, in a federal election. It's not to attribute to anybody's effort to fight Russian propaganda. It's because people showed up and they overweight. Come on now. Questions, concerns? There were some great questions from Oakland County. Okay, yes. Wait a second. I have to scroll down. Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't scroll. Polls don't vote, people do. Exactly, I agree. Record turnout for early voting in Texas. I waited in line 2 hours to vote. Thank you, Renee, and thank you for sharing this. This is good. Yes, I also saw a map on how they vote now in Florida because early voting started. It's a lot of blue. Just got to say, Miami area, Palm Beach area. Also, of course, Orlando area, St. Petersburg, that was hit by Hurricane Milton. Tampa area looks very blue, at least for now. And now, certainly on Middle East, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke with former President Trump. The Prime Minister's office said on yesterday, quote, Prime Minister Netanyahu reiterated what he has also said publicly. Israel takes into account the issues of the U.S. administration that U.S. administration raises, but in the end, we will make its decisions based on its national interest. Reported by Reuters first. Now, in the NSC gaggle, John Kirby discussed the U.S. involvement in the Middle East developments. So he discussed various developments regarding U.S. and Middle East. He noted that UAE provided aid support to Gaza in recent days, but emphasized that more assistance is needed, referring to the letter that Blinken and Austin wrote to Netanyahu and Gallant, saying that, look, either you restore aid to Gaza, which you have been blocking for over 2 weeks, or within 30 days, if nothing happens here, we will not supply you militarily at all. So for that reason, they see movement, certainly, but it's certainly not enough. And certainly it helps that UAE was dropping aid, literally flying drones dropping aid. President Biden confirmed he's aware of when and how Israel will retaliate against Hamas, although he did not disclose any specific details of conversations between the U.S. and Israel, stating that Israel as a sovereign state will decide on its own military actions. Now, Kirby mentioned that U.S. has not yet reached a conclusion regarding its potential involvement in controlling Gaza following the death of Hamas leader Sinwar. He indicated that U.S. is working with Palestinian authorities, including Mahmoud Abbas, to address the situation in Gaza. Now, additionally, Kirby provided no specific details about the recent meeting that was reported that it happened between Iran, Hamas, and Hezbollah in Istanbul, or regarding Hamas deputy's trip to Tehran. He commented that it would not be surprising if Hezbollah leaders maintained contact with Iran, given the support they receive. He also noted that some information is too sensitive for public exposure. Lastly, he confirmed that there has been no official U.S. reaction to the death of a Turkish clerk in the U.S. So at the Turkish embassy in the U.S., clerk suddenly died. There was no reaction to that. Okay. Arizona already started and it looks good for voters. Fingers crossed. Good. Well, again, let's keep the faith. Let's also stay patient. Let's, not overdo. Okay, on the First Lady. So President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden celebrated the unveiling of the enhanced White House public tour, which was yesterday at a fancy schmancy dinner. Dr. Biden highlighted the tour's engaging elements, allowing visitors to touch, hear, and see history, while also including previously off-limits areas like the diplomatic reception room. I got pictures. See, that's what it is. So you come to the White House now, and you have this interactive aspect. So First Lady is greeting you, and she's telling you where to go and what is awaiting you. Yeah. Then when you proceed through the rooms, when things did happen, so there are buttons that you can touch, and you will hear what exactly happened in that room. So whenever they talk about the diplomatic room, so there was the fireplace. This is the fireplace room where and they describe what exactly happened there. And so when you push a button, for instance, there's a room where Roosevelt was negotiating during World War II, and you can tap a button and hear the exact radio recording of what exactly happened. It's pretty cool. The president emphasized that the White House is the people's house and that America embraces its history to inspire future generations. Both expressed gratitude to partners like the History Channel and Essie Design for their contributions. And a toast was raised to honor the shared history that belongs to all Americans. And so then earlier today, on Monday, First Lady revealed a newly enhanced and educational White House public tour, offering a more interactive experience for visitors. And she noted that as a classroom teacher for over 40 years, she emphasized the importance of engaging and interactive learning, and certainly that's a huge benefit of having a teacher at the White House, because she understands, how folks can consume knowledge better. Looks gorgeous. This is the first significant update to the tour in decades, and it introduces several new features designed to enhance the learning experience. More engaging educational elements throughout the tour, the incorporation of storytelling using technology and digital components, providing visitors with deeper historical context, incorporating tactile and sensory content to make the tour more immersive, expanding opportunities to learn about U.S. history, civics, and presidential life. It's gorgeous. Gorgeous. Okay. And so the enhancements were supported by the History Channel, as I mentioned, partnership with Essie Design. Essie Design, by the way, is responsible for the renovation of Liberty Island and Ellis Island museums, both managed by the National Park Service. The History Channel has also produced educational films for numerous historic sites across the country, including Smithsonian's National Museum of American History, the Statue of Liberty, and Gettysburg National Military Park. And Dr. Biden's updates to the White House tour aim to create a more captivating and informative experience for visitors, helping them connect with nation's history in a more meaningful way. And she also mentioned that about 10,000 people are visiting the tour per week. Gorgeous. So if you're next time in DC, you're very much welcome to go and check it out. I think you have to contact your senator or representative, and they will request the ticket or whatever entrance for you. Other thing that I wanted to share, speaking of Liberty Island and Liberty, well, New York Liberty won the WNBA title yesterday. So congratulations, ladies. This was incredible. I covered their season last year, so I know what kind of grind that was, and pushing the Las Vegas Aces off the stage, or off the podest, or whatever you call it, off the first spot. It's a huge deal. So also with the Olympics that interrupted the season in the middle, so we just prolonged the season. So that's a huge thing. And NBA starts tonight, right? The new season started tonight. The interactive displays would be perfect for school field trips. Yes. Yeah. Remember you went to somewhere on a tour and you were just yawning and not being interested? Yeah. The new interactive White House reminds me a lot of National African American History Museum. Only thing better is seeing life like the pandas. Yeah, the pandas are back. Yeah, in DC Zoo. I showed you the pandas recently. Jill Biden has done way more than Melania. Listen, Melania just like rolled over the baton and just like made streets out of gardens. Scared what could come if she's back. I may have to make a trip back to DC. Been about 10 years. Yeah. Yeah. That's very, 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 very important thing to understand, that it's a people's house, that it's a democracy. It certainly supports the entire idea of United States as being the republic for the people. And remember the words, the infamous words of Benjamin Franklin, it's a republic if you can keep it. And I always encourage us to focus on what's in our hands. And this is voting, talking to people, making a plan to vote. I'm going this Saturday. So let's make a plan, let's vote, and let's spend time with like-minded people, which is very, very, very important. And I fix the RSVP thing for our watch party. So Wednesday it is. Wednesday, 10/23, which is day after tomorrow, 9 p.m. Join us for Kamala Harris's town hall on CNN. It's a watch party with like-minded people. RSVP is in the first comment beneath this video. If you're watching on Twitter, or if you're watching on YouTube, get on board. RSVP, spend some time with like-minded people, share, like, whatever you need to do. Oh, with Twitter, it's important to do saving and like copy link to share off the platform. That's the only statistics that Elon is paying attention to per his posts. So if you don't mind, please. Onest.substack.com. That's where you get actual news. And I'm sending you tonight's letter in a second. I'll read what I maybe missed this night and I'll add to it and send it right away. Okay? So thank you for joining me. See you tomorrow. And we will bookmarking. Yeah. It's like a saving thing, like a little funny whatever. Yes. Thank you, Daniel. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a good night. Stay safe, stay sane, stay happy. Do what makes you happy. Don't hurt others, but do what makes you happy and consume actual news. It helps. Okay. Have a good night. See you tomorrow per usual.